Hello and welcome to the Justin Hamilton podcast. On today's episode, my good friend Jenny Tian is a guest. She is talking about her new show, If Life Gives You Oranges. What does that have to do with the show? That title is a title that you have when you're not sure what the show is about yet, but it is a fantastic show. She's done such a good job with this new hour of stand-up. Has a pretty important story that she threads through all the material. And if you haven't seen her already, I think you'll be in for a real treat, and you'll have something to discuss afterwards. So I think the evolution of Jenny has been one of the most interesting and, for me, inspiring comedians that I've worked with in a long time. So I'm rapt to have her on the show. And make sure that you see her at the Melbourne Comedy Festival, the Sydney Comedy Festival, and Brisbane, not far around the corner either. Before we bring Jenny in, just a few updates for you. Over at my Substack, there is a new chapter in my accidental memoir, One Foot in the Spotlight. The latest chapter is all about the first gig back in 1994 that my partner Damien and we were performing under the name The Bunser Boys, and we got our first paid gig, and how exciting it was, what we, learnt from it, and most importantly, what we earned. And I'm not going to tell you how much we earned, but it was thrilling to be paid to do stand-up comedy. So that is now available. And going up to YouTube is a second stand-up show that I filmed 15 months ago now. I've been really slow in rolling this out. It's hard to keep up a schedule, I'll be honest with you. That show is called Stuff and Nonsense. You'll be able to find that at my YouTube page, which will now have two stand-up shows. You can watch this podcast as a video cast, and has an appearance from me on Charlie Pickering's show. So, yeah, slowly building everything up at the YouTube page. But if you'd like to see some of my stand-up, there will be now two shows that you can choose from there. Yes, all right. You know what? Let's just keep it at that for the moment. And a big thank you to everyone who signed up to the newsletter. The newsletter is free. If you would like to sign up to a fortnightly newsletter that will keep you abreast of things that I'm doing, make suggestions on movies and albums and TV shows that I'm watching, and is just hopefully a little bit of joy in your inbox every 2 weeks, head to justinhamilton.com.au. You can sign up on the front page. Keep an eye out for the confirmation email. You get that, you will then sign on, and every 2 weeks it will just be me talking to you without having to worry about social media or algorithms or anything like that. Okay, this is such a fun chat with Jenny. She is really interesting. She's funny, and she's just at that really exciting point in a career where everything's clicking, and she's discovering new things, and she's learning, and she's also really establishing herself. And I just love working with her. If you are happy that I am doing more stand-up comedy, you should thank Jenny. Because she's really reignited my love of comedy. If you've had enough of seeing me be a stand-up comedian, blame Jenny. So there you go. Praise and condemn her in equal measure, depending on how you feel about me doing more stand-up. I'll swing by at the end, but for now, let's bring in Jenny Tian. Jenny Tian, she knows a man who drives a van, who also owns some cans. It's so funny when I say your name, just like not being an idiot. I put a bit of Adelaide accent on it, and I call you Jenny Tian. But because of your routine, I have your Dr. Seuss rhyme stuck in my head, at least a version of it.
It's catchy, isn't it?
It's really catchy.
Tian, that's what my tech at Adelaide called me. Tian, how are you today?
Yeah, it's working when a techie is engaging with you, because They are brain dead by the end of
Oh
a
yeah.
festival. Like they're doing
Oh
the
yeah.
hard yards.
They are. And I also have zero tech in my show, which means
Yes.
there's no point where they have to pay attention.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I always, comedians cop a lot of shit for being pains in the asses, talking about themselves, especially during festivals. But I will defend comedians in that we are all having these unique experiences every night, and we've got nobody to talk to about it. And even if you try to talk to your techie, they're kind of looking over their shoulder, going, "Yeah, yeah, no worries," because they're trying to get the next show
Yeah.
ready. And that's why
Yep.
you kind of end up out there just like, I had this experience, I had this experience, I had this experience.
Yeah, yeah, you do. What I love about festivals is when you meet up with your friends in the evening, other comedians, and you just
Mm.
do the big debriefs. You do big
Yes.
debriefs about your show, and then you'll meet someone the other night, and everyone's got something to say about their show.
Yes.
You always have one thing, even if it went really well, you'll still be like, oh my God, I can't believe it went well because this night it was like this. Like you always
Yeah.
have some notable thing that's happened.
Yeah. And then there's sometimes there's just general punters who might be a friend of someone or they're just a fan. And sometimes they hang out and it's completely fine. But now and again, you get that one person who starts like going, oh, here they go, doing a bit of a gig, can't turn
Yeah.
it off. And you're like, no, this is how I joke around with my friends, and you are not part
Yeah.
of this inner circle. And
Yeah.
why are you calling me out? You know?
Yeah. Exactly. Because I'm funny.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
It's
funny
like
with
I've
my
got it in
friends
my,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've got it in my bones.
Yeah. It must be like I know when I went from a duo and needing a DI and needing a microphone, a second microphone stand with an arm and all that kind of stuff, going solo, just being able to turn up to a gig and hold up the mic and be ready to go was exhilarating. And for someone who came from establishing themselves online, and then early on, you had a lot more tech. Like, do you just feel like there's a burden taken off your shoulders when you walk onto the stage and you're just ready to go?
Oh yeah, it's so freeing.
Yeah.
It's so freeing. But now what I do is that because the crowd work clips are such a big game
Mm.
right now that the socials are such a big part of stand up at the moment that I was so happy to not have to carry a laptop around and all this extra tech. And now I got to carry a camera and tripod around. So it never ends, Justin.
I know that's mainly my big flaw in my career is that I just can't bring myself to carry more shit around.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited that I just put my phone and keys to one side and go on stage.
Oh, I know the feeling. It's the best when it's like, oh man, I don't have to carry a single thing. I get to walk around. I've got no weight on my shoulders.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that lifestyle. I wish for it as well.
There'll come a day when everything collapses and it'll just be reduced to you won't even have a mic. You'll be like
Yeah.
a traveling minstrel, just kind of hands up
Oh,
performing. That'll be nice, right?
oh, that would be so nice. Yes.
It's I kind of want to go back to your last show that we worked on together, where you
Yeah.
were really transitioning into just being a straight stand-up with no
Yeah.
bells and whistles. I actually kind of don't like the term bells and whistles because it kind of feels like it disparages uh, people who use that kind of stuff. But it was just kind of reducing everything to basics. And I was curious for people who don't know more about you, what was the motivation for wanting to get to that particular approach?
Um, well, I was sick of tech issues.
Yeah,
And there were always tech issues.
yeah.
And I was it, and the thing is, you don't think that it's going to be that difficult. You just go, it's just a laptop and a projector, right? And a bit of
Mm,
sound, a few sound cues, a little bit of music. Should be
mm,
easy, right?
mm,
And there would always be something that went wrong, and like I'm not saying, it would happen at every show or whatever, but like at some point in some run, there's some tech thing, and then your tech run goes for, 5 hours or whatever. Like something would stuff up. And also you're paying extra for the screen a little bit as well. And I kind of was just sick of it. And I went, what? I was so jealous of the comics like you that would just walk around with their keys and their phones. And I was like, oh God, that looks so freeing. And also I was thinking about my favorite stand-ups as well and what I'd always consumed growing up. And it was kind of just the straight stand-ups. It was the
Mm.
purists. So I was like, like, why don't I do that one year? Why don't I challenge myself and just do a straight stand-up show. And then, for those listening who don't know, Justin actually directed my show, Jenny's Travels.
Mm.
It was touring at the time under that name, and now it's going to be released as a special called Supreme Mother. But
I didn't know that. That's
oh
great.
really? Yeah, 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 yeah. I renamed it. I think it's a better name.
But you know what? It was Jenny's Travels to begin with, and that
It
shows you
was,
the evolution of a show.
yeah.
And I remember, sorry to interrupt you, but I remember digging into when we first started talking, and we were really digging into who you are and where you've come from and your influences, etc. And your mum just kept rising in the narrative, didn't she? So it's so perfect that it's now
Yes.
Supreme Mother.
Yes, like a dictator, she is risen.
And she's owning it too. Like I've seen her at
Yeah.
the shows.
Oh God, yeah. Oh my God. She's a star. She's a star, Justin.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I also, was like, oh shoot, doing straight stand up. I've only got like a year-ish to write this show.
Mm.
And I was living in London. And I think what you really helped me out with is just kind of fleshing it out and going like, why are we talking about this? Why have you moved? What made you move? The instance of me wanting to move and think about America was you really liked Spider-Man and you were talking about New York and seeing the city that way. And then I was like, oh, for me, it was Home Alone too.
Yeah.
I, I loved seeing Kevin, in a new place. And that felt like that movie represented adventure to me as a kid.
Yeah.
And then being able to come back to that and folding that in as a theme through the show, was really cool. And I don't know if I would have gotten there without, you asking those prompting questions. So yeah, overall, just really enjoyable process. And it made it fun as well, just being
Yeah.
able to talk out loud. Whereas, you don't have that level of conversation with your friends all the time. You keep it surface layer. You never ask the whys because they're hard things to confront sometimes. Um,
Also, if you're having lunch, it's just a bit like, fuck, calm down, mate. Like, what do you,
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I don't
Why
even know what I want to order.
and you're talking about this big journey that you're going through and your
Yeah.
mom and all this stuff she did in your childhood. Oh,
Yeah.
calm down. The sun's out.
Yeah.
Relax.
They're hard questions to ask yourself when you're riding by yourself. It's good to have someone that you can who can prompt you, and a simple question can like the questions don't need to be deep or anything. They can just be so simple, and then they can open up a whole pathway that you had overlooked as you were trying to work out what you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And after the whys, that I think that really helped kind of like shape the show in a way that flows and ultimately it was really satisfying. I still can't believe that I wrote that show in the length of time that I did because it
Oh,
was it
it
was I felt like I was like, oh shit, I've got no, it's August or September or whatever, and I've got nothing. And I'm just, grabbing at straws to try and come up with something to talk about. And,
right.
I'm so glad that we ended up having things happen to me and, it ended up the way it did.
Well, it was, I've described you to some of the people that we work with, and I say, Jenny's indefatigable in that there is an absolute, even if you are feeling maybe nervous on stage or you're feeling like, oh God, that didn't work, you look absolutely unbeatable. Like you try something on stage, and if it doesn't work, it's almost, it feels a little bit more scientific. Like you're, oh, all right, well, I either change that or or maybe that's just not going to work. Other people. I think I've definitely been there where I've tried an idea once and it's just gone so horribly, and I'm like, well, I'm never going back to that again. And then you think, oh, maybe I should have. Like maybe it was just a sentence missing that helped set it up, or. But
Yes.
working with you was a real reminder of the joy of stand up because we just threw ideas against the wall and then you'd try them and then you'd send me videos and then I'd watch the videos and we'd be able to, well, why don't we try this, why don't we try that, what did you learn from it? I felt like I was learning in the process as well.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like with trying out new bits and stuff, I totally get it. It sucks when, you really believe in something and it doesn't work. I think it hurts everyone.
Yeah.
But I was listening to this I forget who it was. It would have been like Issa Rae or like some big time American comedian or someone who said commit to everything, but don't
Mm.
get attached to it. And
Mm.
I think that's a really healthy way to approach things. Otherwise, you'll get so discouraged and you won't ever want to ever go back on stage again, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely.
you can't get too attached. And yeah, for me, it's like I think that weirdly, posting on social media has helped with that process because, I'm not filming and then posting and then filming and then posting. I film a bunch of stuff and then I post I kind of schedule things out. So it's
Mm.
like, okay, I'm going to post this one on Monday, this one on Wednesday, this one on Friday. And that way I don't get attached to it. And then when I see views and numbers or whatever, that inevitably you will see that number.
Mm.
I go, oh, okay, cool. That one did that like that. Okay, I thought it would have gone better. Why was that? And because it's been a bit of time since I've filmed it, then I'm not so attached to it. And I think I've
Mm.
started having the same approach to my stand-up bits, where it's like, okay, I really thought this was going to work. Oh, it didn't. Okay, why? When
Mm.
you kind of start analyzing, and there's always a reason. I think it's quite easy to go, oh, that one didn't work. Oh God, it just wasn't funny. But understanding why and unpacking that is equally as important to the journey as well, I think.
Yeah, it's really healthy.
Yeah.
And that's actually good advice. The other thing, this is a bit of Louis C.K. advice, which is
Our
really good.
favorite masturbator.
I was about to say it's just really good advice, and you don't have to watch them go to town. But he said your desire to kill on a Monday will stop you from killing on a Saturday, and using the right kind of gigs to run in material rather than
Mm.
because you would have seen heaps of people now that do the kind of same 7 to 10 no matter what the gig is,
Oh yeah.
and even if the 7 to 10 was pretty solid, it kind of deteriorates because it keeps being performed over and over. It loses a little bit of its spark, and it also we've talked about this before. Um, New material, if you do it in bad rooms, it becomes bad material because it grows to kind of fit that type of vibe.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I agree that the audience that you're performing in front of is so important. And I was watching Chris Fleming the other day actually kind of talk about have you seen Chris Fleming, Justin?
No, I haven't.
Oh my good. He is so refreshing and original. And I hope I'm using the right pronoun there. Apologies if I'm not, but I've just it's he is such a master at what he does and he's so specific
Mm,
and he's just it is straight stand up but there is a quirky alternative twist on what he's doing and all his references are so specific, he's got so much depth but it's so silly as well. And you can tell that he's been doing this for ages. You can
mm,
really tell he's honed this mastery. And he was doing an interview where someone was asking him, "How did you get to this place where what you do is so specific?" And he went, "Well, it's my audience. My
mm,
audience have held me in a way where I feel safe exploring this type of stuff. So it's actually I give credit to my audience for
mm.
allowing me to go to these places and not judging me and not going, whoa, what the hell is he doing right now?"
Yeah.
And so it's like I think like stand up is ultimately a combination between that audience that you have and you and your artistic voice. and it's 50, it's well maybe not 50-50, but it's a big part of them and a big part of you as well, and them giving you feedback on what they want to hear, and then you figuring out what you want to say, and then ultimately that being kind of combined together, and
Mm.
then that's the material that you kind of end up with. And so I think audiences are such a big part of it as well. I agree with you.
Yeah, it's something that I reckon the Australian entertainment industry has really struggled with, and that is niche is not a bad thing. Niche is
Yeah.
good, and all you have to do with niche is give people jumping on points to enjoy that specific place that you're going to go. Whereas I think the Australian entertainment industry, which is in a diabolical state at the moment and
Mm,
is kind of collapsing in on itself. And it's
mm,
because for so long, the majority of the shows that they've been producing, they're trying to be broad and they're trying to appeal to
mm.
everyone. So therefore, there's no center, and it has no appeal because it's bland. It's like a vanilla wafer in a manila folder pressed up against a beige wall. There's nothing to really sink your teeth into.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I will say on the flip side of that, I think in terms of like a live comedy, gosh, we've gone into deep nerdy comedy chat, haven't we?
This is what it was meant to be.
Okay, okay. Um, when I talk to the Americans, now that I live in, oh, the other big
Yeah.
update in my life is that I now live in New York City.
Yes.
And I do stand-up comedy there. When people have asked me why have you moved to New York, in my show I say it's because of all these sitcoms that I've watched growing up and it's an exciting city. But I mean, the real reason is because it is the city for stand-up comedy
Yeah.
and it is the city to hone your craft as a stand-up comedian and all the other exciting stuff as well. It's New York City and
Hmm.
get to go to Central Park and you meet all these people and there's a buzz to it, but it's the best city for stand up. And meeting comics there, I think, is really fascinating because when I tell them about the Australian model, they get really jealous and they go, I wish we had that. I want that. You get to do your own hour whenever you want, and it's just you, and you get
Right.
to play in that space, and your hour gets to be whatever it is. They all go, wow, I think I would have found my voice so much earlier if I did
Hmm.
that. Or I would have, yeah, even if I put on a show that was shit, like, oh my gosh, like then, you get to go back year after year and you get better and better and better. And wow, you get that much stage time that quickly, that early. You would be so good at it.
Hmm.
And because in America, all they have is these little club spots. And you have to kill so hard to then get booked again and then become a regular, at a club and, all of those things. So it's I think the grass is kind of always greener. And if you look at the Australian voices that we have, I would say that they are really original.
Hmm.
Like the examples that we always go back to are Aaron Chan and Sam Campbell, who
Yeah.
you could argue that what their style of comedy is kind of like a little bit alty and a little bit niche, but they've all had, successful careers. They are both now outside of Australia, but
Hmm.
creatively, Australia has helped them hone that voice. And I think they're both very confident creatively in what those voices are. And I
Hmm.
think if they started in another country, I do question whether they would have ended up the same comedians they are now.
Well, yeah, I totally agree. Absolutely. I kind of feel like the comedy scene, and specifically the festival run, is divorced a little bit from the Australian entertainment industry.
Yeah, like
You know,
mainstream media and stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and it's interesting because I kind of, having lived through the comedy boom of the early millennium, and looking back now on it, and uh, there's a lot that was really successful about it, like extremely successful. Like
Yeah.
comedians have probably never made more money,
Mm.
at any point in Australian history. But on the flip side of that, I wonder where was the art? Like, where was the staying
Yeah.
power? And I'm just going to use Husey as an example. Husey's had an incredibly brilliant career where he has made all the money and is famous and still works on his stand up, like he loves stand up, etc. But shouldn't we have had 10 years of Everybody Loves Husey? where
Mm,
he's got his own show, and
yeah.
rather than him doing breakfast radio where what did he talk about yesterday? I don't know. Somehow he was lower status. Whereas
Yeah.
rather he had his own TV show where,
Mm,
he was surrounded by actors and it was Husey and new circumstances having to deal with, whatever challenge has
yeah.
come his way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like at the end of the day, it's every country is a little bit like this at the moment, but
Mm,
no one wants to take risks.
no one.
Um, and I'm in New York now with Ronnie Chang, and gosh, he can talk about Australian TV forever and how much he hates the industry.
I feel like
But
his fury at the Australian television industry is going to power him for the next 2
oh
decades.
my God, he's that man is purely fueled by rage. It's amazing. He just gets stronger and stronger
Yeah.
with more things to hate.
Yeah, he's the Incredible Hulk, but he keeps his pants on. It's fantastic.
It's so good.
It feels like it should be a time to take risks, though. Like if everything's kind of collapsing in on itself, what have you got to lose? Don't throw all the money at something, but find a good idea and see if you can make it stick.
Yeah, I mean, there are some streamers out there who do it, but even they're kind of, not taking risks at the moment, which is it's hard to see and it's sad to see.
Mm,
But it is I think it's again living in Australia, like, before I had been anywhere else, I'd always gone, oh gosh, like this feels like such an Australian specific problem. It's the Australian media. I've been now to the UK and the States, and every comic is saying the same thing about their own
mm,
industry. They go, "Oh my God, they won't back this thing, unless it's a sequel to something,
right.
or they won't back this thing unless there's a huge name attached to it, like Seinfeld level name
Yeah.
attached to stuff." So, it's the same thing everywhere in the world. It's expensive to make stuff,
Mm,
and people have shareholders to impress, and it's all down to money and capitalism at the end of the day, and it's called show business for a reason, and people
yeah.
want to make money, which is
Yeah.
the sad reality, but yeah.
Yeah, look, it feels like the business is in all capitals and a slightly bigger font than the show part of it. Uh,
Yeah.
it's I've been working on this project that's set in 1996, and it's really brought out those sensibilities in me again. That I don't think I ever really shook them, which was I do feel a bit anti-capitalist. I do feel,
Yeah, I think we
uh,
all do right now.
yeah, I would hope so. And oh no, there's a whole strain of comedians who are very capitalist, I think.
Yeah,
But
true, actually.
but
True.
the when Wayne's World was a movie that came out, it's just a funny
Mm,
comedy. But the principle behind that film is selling out is the worst thing that you could ever do.
mm.
And now it's my feed is just influencers, and I don't even know what they're influencing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it is kind of intriguing to see what exactly has happened with like stand up and stuff. But at the same time, it's like, I think if you keep thinking that way, like, things will never get anywhere, and gosh, it's all capitalism and money at the end of the day, there will be a point where you get bitter and you stop doing it. And I think what's
Yeah.
equally important is, well, you got to look at why you do this as well. Like for me, I'm astonished that anyone comes to my shows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
like, at the end of the day, I get to perform to people who, for whatever reason, have paid money, and come out to watch me. And I think, there is a lot of joy in that as well. And you have to find joy
Mm,
in the process now in what you are doing, because
mm.
there will always be some hurdle that you're going to have to overcome, and there's always going to be some next thing. And if you live that way, then you'll be bitter and sad forever doing this begrudgingly. So,
Yeah. Oh my
yeah,
Lord. Like
yeah.
when I was probably about your age, I looked at the comedians, some of the comedians who were in their mid 40s, who I was like, "Oh, don't get like that." Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like it's a bummer to be a comedian and just not enjoying it.
Yeah, exactly. It's advice that Merrick Watts gave me. He said, never get bitter.
Mm,
Never get bitter. And at the time I was like, what does he mean? All my
mm,
friends love doing this. And
yeah.
now I'm like, no, I see, I see. I think a really good example of it is Harry Jordan. I think his mindset and his approach. Actually, it's something an acting teacher taught me, Ben Matthews, who runs these courses called Acting Mastery, which are he's phenomenal. But he said that at any point, there are three things that you can always be working on: your skill set, your opportunities, and your mindset.
Mm.
And in acting, they teach you all that mindset stuff because it's such a hard industry. But I think in comedy, we often focus. Well, actually, some people don't even focus on the skill set. They just want to be famous. We're often going like skill set. How
Yeah.
much am I bombing? How many tags do I have? And we focus on the craft. Um, but a lot of people forget the mindset part of it as well.
Yeah.
And you've got to remember that side of things. And I think Harry is a great example because he's been going for, as long as me. And, shout out to Harry. He's always been funny from the get-go.
Mm.
Um, and it's kind of only now that suddenly like he'll go into restaurants and he'll get recognized
Oh yeah.
because his social media clips have just popped off as of late. His crowd work clips have gone so incredibly well. And, he's someone who, did a little bit of social media, but now he's suddenly starting to go hard with posting live stand-up clips. And it's 9 years. He's almost been going for 9 years, 9 years of hard work. And an audience has finally found him.
Mm.
And he hasn't gotten bitter. He's always grateful every step of the way. He's grateful for every single fan. He's thankful he's nice to everyone.
Mm.
And, I just think long term, that mentality that he has just goes such a long way.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree, and he is an absolute delight as well. Like
Yeah.
on and off stage,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, you know, uh, being a good hang
Yes.
is a good thing to be, and lots
Yeah.
of people don't quite understand that. But you never want to be the person who walks into a green room and three people are looking at each other, going, "Oh, this fucking guy," you
Oh
know.
my God, being a good hang is so important. I mean, in America, it makes some people's careers.
Mm,
Like, if you're a good hang, you can go open for, the biggest comedians in town.
yeah,
Like, there are some comics in America that are, fine as
yeah,
comics, but such a good hang.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then they get flown around all over the place, put up in amazing hotels just because they're a great hang.
Yeah,
So, it's important.
yeah. The also just kind of getting back to the maintaining a healthy approach to things. Um uh just being creative is so fulfilling. Like
Yeah.
I have so much work that who knows if it will ever kind of see the light of day. You just
Mm.
you just don't know. But the
Yeah.
process of putting things together is still as thrilling to me today as it was when I first began.
Oh, that's amazing,
Yeah,
Justin.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that's such a great feeling. Yeah, being creative in itself it's so fun. It's
yeah,
fun. It's why we do this,
yeah.
Like again, like well, because I'm about to do t today I'm doing Tommy and Carrie's my first time show,
Hmm.
which is when you have to do the first ever stand-up set you ever did, but
Oh,
as a
right,
now. And
right.
so I was listening back to some of my old bits and all, my old sets, and God, I was bad, Justin. If I was transported back in time and I told myself anything, I'd go, quit.
Wow.
There's no hope for you. You're so bad at stand-up comedy. You're so stop it. Every bit you have right now is shit. Don't do them.
Yeah.
Throw it out.
Yeah, but you don't know, and that and you need to
No.
not know. Not being naive powers
Yes.
you.
Oh, and then also everyone who encouraged me. I look back now, I'm like, what were you doing? Why? Why did you tell me to keep going? I was so bad. Oh my, I couldn't believe how bad I was. Like, because I've seen open mics, I've seen people having their first or second set. I've seen how bad it gets. Mine was infinitely worse, Justin. It was so bad.
What was so bad about it?
I was the hackiest, most like leading into I didn't even think I was being edgelordy at the time, but it was
Right.
the real like I knew the beats of comedy.
Yeah.
No, I knew the rhythms because I'd watched it,
Yeah.
but I material wise had nothing.
Yeah.
And I was talking about like, oh, just really hacky stuff like how when I was, and I don't endorse this view at all now, but like when I was like in primary school, like, oh my God, I didn't know what to color myself. And so, oh, do I pick the orange one or the white one? Oh, I'll pick the yellow one. And oh, that'll mess with my teacher. Just hacky stuff. And also like just talking about yeah, things that were really inconsequential and didn't make sense and just yeah, well trodden paths that had been done before.
We've all been there. Like I've been writing I keep referring to it as the accidental memoir on Substack, and so I've gone right back to the very first gigs in '94 and been looking at that stuff. And I have the first script that I ever wrote
Whoa.
handwritten, photocopied. I made a big thick book for the guy that I used to perform with, Damien. So he had a collection of all the songs that we did and reviews and photos and that, and that script was in there. And I was looking at it and I was like, I can't put some of these down in writing because even if I go to great lengths to point out the context, but someone's not going to be paying attention, and then then I'm going to get some.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I feel exactly the same way. Like it's because you don't have the apps or the delicacy with words at that stage yet
Yeah.
to really like you kind of know what you want to get at, but
Yeah.
it doesn't come across that way, and you don't have the self-awareness to realize either. So I forgot why I brought that up, but it was just something I was doing
Oh,
last night. I was
well, you're
listening
doing the Tommy and Carrie show, and
doing
yeah,
yeah. And my goodness, really bad
yeah.
material.
But doesn't that feel good to look at that and go,
Yeah.
look at the distance that you have
Yeah.
traveled in comparatively a short time?
Oh my gosh, it's astonishing that out of that comedian ever came a good bit. It's so bad. Oh my God. I listened to one set where I was
Hang on, you have it on. You've recorded it.
oh yeah, I didn't record my first ever set, but I do remember some of what I spoke about.
Yeah.
But you know, you go back to your recordings of like the first ever recordings that you did have of your
Yeah.
own work. And so I was listening back to some of those just out of curiosity. And there was one thing where I was just, you know, I was asking a guy like, what's what's your name? And this is me, my attempt to do crowd work, okay?
Yeah.
And he was like, James, and I went, oh, that name really suits your face.
Well, you could like, but now you could even do that same line, and you could do it in a way that would
Yeah,
work. You
yeah.
know?
Did it in a way that came off creepy
Yeah.
as. And
Yeah.
then what I was trying to do was I was trying to link it to a bit about how sometimes people's names don't suit their faces.
Right.
So I was trying to give him a compliment, and I came off as a creepy ass comedian going, "Oh yeah, the name James suits your face." And then
Oh, that's so funny.
everyone laughed out of discomfort. And I
Yeah.
remember back in the day listening back to that and going, that worked really well. Everyone laughed at that. I'm really good at this.
That's what you need. You need that naivety.
Yeah.
Like people say to me, geez, you know, people think that people think they mistake thinking comedy is the hardest job in the world. It's not the hardest job in the world. It just taps into a basic fear that a lot of people have, which is standing in front of other people and talking. And I think
Yeah.
that's the difference. But people often say, "How did like?" How have you lasted so long? And it was like, oh, I was too naive to realize how bad it could be. Like, and I had a run of, our first few months of gigs were in a really uh, well put together comedy night where we did workshops on a Monday, did your show on a Thursday. It was a return
Mm,
audience. They
mm,
knew in the first half you were always doing new. So if the new was not polished, they understood because the audience had been set up to understand that. So by the time
mm.
we had a bad gig, like a proper bad gig. Like we were like 4 months in, and then so
Whoa.
then, and I'm not saying all those gigs were good. We were just in a safe space to explore how to
Mm.
do things. And I can remember our first bad gig. Like we were just in shock. But
Yeah.
at least we had heaps of good experiences to fall back on.
Yes. Yes. And you knew,
Mm,
you knew that that was like a, because you'd done all this other material before and stuff, that, oh, this is just a one-off. And
mm.
not to kind of trust that and take that as, oh, this is that they didn't laugh. That's how comedy works and stuff. Like, I remember when I was first starting stand up and I was trying to explain to my friends that different, sometimes depending on the night, like you might not have a great set. And that's not like, I know it sounds cliche, but it's like sometimes it is the audience,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
like it is, but and they kind of wouldn't believe me because they're like,
Mm,
no, I've been to comedy shows before. It's just
yeah,
the comedian's not funny. I know how it works. And it's like, no, you don't understand.
yeah,
Like realizing that was such a big head fuck to me, that
yeah,
you take this same material across all these different audiences and all these different rooms, and different places will laugh differently, even though it's the exact same
yeah,
material. Like that to me was like, whoa. And
yeah.
then I learned people in like the inner west of Sydney are going to laugh very different to, the northern beaches, who are going to
Mm,
laugh very different to, the western suburbs, because people have different values. And so they
mm.
find different things funny. And like I think there's so many quotes that go around at the moment with when people kind of talk about like what can you say and what can you joke about and that cliche thing, which gosh, if anyone's listening to this, please don't ever ask me that. Boring shit question. Um, it's so shit.
Someone's been doing a lot of commercial radio interviews.
Yeah, is anything funny anymore? Um, Come on. We've been having the same conversation for bloody 12 years at this point.
Yeah.
But the thing that for some reason always pops up in articles and for some reason people always say is, oh, well, you can say anything as long as it's funny. It's just got to be funny. And it's
Mm.
like, yeah, but everyone's funny is different.
Yes.
Like Chris Fleming, I love, not for everyone.
Yeah.
I think he's hilarious, not for everyone. There are going to be a lot of people that do not find this person funny.
Yeah.
And there are people out there that do not find me funny, and there are people who do. And it's just, it's your values, it's what you're interested in, and it's not like a wow, one size fits all type thing, with stand-up comedy. And I forgot exactly what my point was,
Well,
but basically,
we were talking about how rooms can be different and audiences can be different, and
yeah,
how
yeah,
not to. Sometimes you have. I think the point you were making is sometimes you have to be uh, uh, hard on yourself. Oh, I kind of messed up that
yeah,
gig. I came out too high. I came out
yeah,
too low. I came out
yeah,
too hard. I came out too soft. Whatever. Poor
yeah,
choice of opening material. But
yeah.
sometimes it is the audience. Like sometimes.
Sometimes it's
Some,
the audience, and as
you,
I would, as I say, always their fault. It's always them, and I'm brilliant.
Sometimes it's fun to make drop a joke and then explain to the audience that look, this is probably a little bit ahead of you, but when you're on your way home and you think about this and you remember this joke, you'll think, oh, I should have given him more. That's usually
Sometimes
what.
you'll go back and you'll regret
Yeah,
not being happy in that moment,
yeah,
actually, and you'll go, I should have laughed. I should
yeah.
have allowed myself that joy,
Yeah.
That's on me.
Well, but sometimes it can also be the comedians that were on before you. Sometimes the audience is totally up
Yes.
for it. And if you get, I hosted a show not long ago where, um, you know, Bekdane Unamuno was headlining, and I
Yep.
was, you know, after each act, and there were some good comedians there, but they were trying new material and they weren't kind of announcing it, and it was just, I was by the end of the first half, I was like saying, no, seriously, like Beck is good.
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and you're just kind of running the audience, or you go on after someone's really flattened the audience, and the first half of your set is just getting them back up to speed.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's so interesting how many fickle factors they are in
Mm,
stand-up and what makes it work. It's so delicate.
yeah.
Like, there's like I was doing a store run one time at the Comedy Store where it's the same comics for the whole week. And then you do the weekends together. There's an early show and a late show on a
Mm,
Saturday. And the early show is always a little bit more tepid than the late show.
hmm
And it's because people have had dinner, people have
mm,
had drinks, but they're in a different mood. It's
mm,
later, like they're in a jollier mood for whatever reason, they're looser, and that just makes the show pop that much more.
mm,
The early shows are still great there, but
mm.
it I think if any audience member were to stay and watch the early show and then the late show, they would be astonished at how different it feels in the room just because it's a different time slot.
Yeah.
So it's the exact same comedians doing usually the same material as well, and it's just astonishing how different it feels.
Yeah. When I MC the 6:30 show, I've gotten to like I try to hit them 6:30 and 8:30 a little bit differently. And with the 6:30, I praise them for coming to the pensioner show. They've had a pensioner
Yeah.
dinner, they've come to the pensioner time show, and then the 8:30 audience, I'll tell them that how much I respect them because they're crazy. They don't give a shit anymore. So just try to even empower them in different ways to
Yep.
enjoy the show, hopefully, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, make them feel special,
Yeah.
even though you're doing it to every crowd.
To every crowd. I
Yeah.
don't want to keep you for too long because I know how busy you are, but I want to talk to you about your latest show
Oh, yes.
because I came over, saw the first three in
Yep.
Adelaide,
Yep.
saw the show being worked up in Wollongong and Newcastle,
Mm.
and uh, I was really fascinated when you because the first time you actually gave the idea of this show a go was not that long after the festivals last year, and
Yep.
I
Yep.
was um, uh, really surprised in an excited way that you wanted to add a narrative thread to
Yes.
the show, and we haven't talked about this, but uh, was that you like? I'm curious as to why that happened.
Yeah. I mean, I had all these bits to test
Yeah.
because, from festivals, I just had bits in my head and I'm like, oh, I need to get this out and see how it lands.
Mm,
But also I was like, when I was writing Jenny's Travels, I'd said this to you, I was like, oh my God, I have nothing to say anymore. I have no material.
mm,
And then I was kind of thinking to myself, maybe I'll take a break this year. I'll take a year off and not do the festivals. But then I kind of thought about this incident that had happened with me in this past relationship. And I thought to myself, I just want to see how this lands. Because I've
mm,
been talking to friends in my life about it. And every time I shared it, well, everyone was already enthralled because
mm,
but also they'd share their own experiences and they'd go, "Oh my God, this happened to me," or "This reminds me of an ex-partner." And then I realized that it was this really relatable, common thing that people
mm.
were kind of talking about in my personal life. And I'm like, well, if it's resonating this much with people, then maybe it could be content for a show. And then so I tested it, and then when I did, and then I kind of saw the reception, I was like, well, I think this has to be a show now. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of how it happened. And I was like, I feel like, I've kind of got something to say with this one as well. And I think there's
Mm,
value in performing it. And so I'm like, well, I'll save my break off for maybe next year.
Mm.
But I think this one's, an important one for both me and the audience.
I totally agree. And the first time and I'm going to speak obliquely about the story because I want people to go and see your show and I want them to have the story unravel to them the way you present it. But the first time I saw you tell the story, which was in Sydney, you kind of just told the story as a chunk, and it didn't have a lot of jokes. But you were getting the feel for it,
Mm.
and I remember just sort of sitting there because you tried new material out at the start, and then you told the story. The story hit hard.
Yeah.
It hit really hard, and remember you did the Q&A afterwards,
Mm.
and people had some firm views in the
Yeah.
crowd, and like I'm much older than you, though you wouldn't know by looking at this young face. But this is a topic that uh, felt a little bit more prevalent in everyday conversations and then has kind of died off a little bit. So I thought it was good that you were engaging with it and bringing it back into focus and kind of showing the way. I think 7 or 8 years ago, guys were you know not the best in a very specific way, but what they've managed to do now, bad guys have acclimatized and
Hmm.
they've learnt the language
Yeah.
and so they can kind of hide in plain sight a little
Mm.
bit more,
Mm.
and that's why I thought it was really I think you're right. I think it's really important that you're telling the story. I've watching the reactions from the audience, it is hitting hard.
Mm.
And the fact that it's peppered with so many jokes, it never loses the funny. Uh, but that you're sharing this very vulnerable tale, I think it's going down really well. I've been really impressed with it.
Oh, thanks so much, Justin. Yeah, I remember doing the story and you were like, oh, the show is the story. And I
Yeah,
went, great, great, we have a show now.
yeah,
And yeah, that initial audience reception as well to it, which again, goes back to audience. Like,
yeah,
like they enjoyed it and they wanted to hear it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to work on this more and, get it to a stage where it's like a proper show now.
yeah.
And it's really fun seeing it. Like Rove came to see it in Adelaide, and then the night that he came, he's like, oh, it was kind of panto-y because
Right.
everyone's like, oh
Yeah,
wow,
yeah, yeah,
during the show because they're just reacting so strongly to it.
yeah.
Yeah, like I've had so much fun with it, and it's helped me reflect and kind of process on a lot of things as well. So.
Mm,
Yeah, I'm really glad for it. I think it's probably the darkest show I've done in some senses.
mm,
Like I had an audience member come to one of my preview nights in Melbourne, and when you're coming to a preview night, you don't know what the show is about. It's called When Life Gives You Oranges, which really doesn't tell you anything, because I didn't know what the show was
yeah,
going to be about when I had to submit a show title.
yeah.
Um, and he just went, "Oh, that was really good. That was heavy. That was heavier than I thought." And I'm like,
Mm,
"Yeah, there are moments of it that are quite heavy, but I'm very glad that people are enjoying it. A lot of people are saying that it's great that I'm using my voice in this way and stuff. So
mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, yeah, you should be. I think it's I don't want people to uh get the wrong idea though. It's really funny and
It's really funny.
and it's really uplifting.
It's actually like 99% funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it just hits on some important topics
Yeah,
and it doesn't just hit on them, it explores them.
yeah, yeah.
And and it's kind of like I've always talked about with heavy narratives. If you can put jokes in the right place, they're a little bit like turning the valve open and just like letting people exhale, and then
Yes.
they can kind of laugh, and then you can go into different directions. Then you can build that the heavier parts up again, and then give
Hmm.
people that opportunity to exhale once
Yeah.
more. What's been the most interesting thing for you as a comedian, learning from last year's show, which was straight stand up, to this year's show where you have a narrative? What's the skill that you've embraced and learnt the most from?
Yeah. I mean, I think like even last year there was a little bit of narrative,
Yeah.
obviously a lot less than what is in this year's show. What have I learned? I mean, they're all yeah, I feel like it's like each show is like a little bit different, so I learn a different lesson each
Mm.
time. I think with last year's show, what did I learn? I think just like asking why,
Mm.
and kind of like exploring things and trying to dig down deep into some kind of theme that is satisfying. And yeah, making sure that among your bits there's some kind of flows that the audience is following through the whole time, and they're not getting lost by bits that don't link up with each other in some way. Also with actually, a thing you taught me was when you have kind of the more cerebral ideas to have something relatable up top
Mm.
to get into it. That was really that like blew my mind. I was like, whoa, I should be doing this all the time.
Yeah.
And actually like being like in New York, I'm at the Comedy Cellar. It's every comic at the Cellar does it.
Right.
Like everyone does. I've seen it, and everyone has, if they're talking about something that's about to be a bit quirkier or edgier or something that they know they might pull back on, there is always something relatable or a bit of crowd work that will lead into it. And the
Mm.
bit just pops that much more for it. So that's, like nerdy technical thing. I think from this year going into a narrative, I think it's also like sequencing. Again, it comes back to like sequencing and the flow of the show, but doing it in a way where it's like, okay, where will there be more momentum? And where will there be less momentum? And where is, a bit that I'm going to place that might feel a bit annoying at this point because the audience just wants to hear story at this stage. So
Mm.
kind of just being conscious of the flow, um, in that way. And also, I think just like having the self-awareness of going, I think I did one version of the show that was a bit like it was kind of like telling the audience what to think rather than
Mm.
kind of just letting them figure it out for themselves. And so the trust that the audience is smart
Yeah.
and they will be able to infer their own opinions from events as well, and to give them things to figure out and to let them have those thoughts running through their heads instead of just kind of handing them the answers.
Mm.
So I think that as well.
Yeah, yeah. An audience loves to feel that they've worked it out. So and so if you give them enough, and I think we've discussed it before. Sometimes the best punchlines they're thinking of it as you say it because you've set it
Yep.
up correctly.
Yep.
And then also when something's highly emotional, I think it's always better, especially as a stand-up comedian who is predominantly there to make people laugh, with something that can be highly emotional. Deliver it flat and
Yes.
let the audience project their emotions onto it rather than bursting into tears or putting your head in your
Yeah.
hands and that like that's too much,
Yes.
so let them engage with it on their level because some people might start crying, but some people might just sit there and stoically and feel it, and you're not discarding one reaction for the other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And you kind of let them feel what they want to feel, and you just present things as they
Yeah.
are, matter of fact. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I reckon I thought last year's show was great, and I reckon this show's even better. And I think you should be really proud of it. And I can't wait to see it post Melbourne because then you'll have had the rest of your Adelaide run, then you'll have had Melbourne, and then it'll just become more robust. And I remember after one of your shows you got your script out, and it was fascinating to see where you'd uh almost color coded it. Like part of it was
Yeah.
the narrative is here,
Yep.
and we could really break it down. Um, so I think it's still early in the run, so
It is.
it's going to get even better and better. Where can people see you for the next few months?
Yeah, so currently I'm at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival playing at the Lower Town Hall every night, 6 p.m., 5 p.m. on Sundays. Um, and then I'll also be in Sydney, Brisbane, and Perth. And yeah, this is going to be my last little leg in Australia. So catch me while
Mm,
you can. I'm going to spend a bit more time in New York City,
yeah.
working there next year, and also touring the United States. So my time in Australia is limited. So yeah, catch me while you can.
Yeah, don't piss fart around. Like she's here
Yeah,
now. Go and see her
yeah,
now.
come now.
I've got to be honest. I've taken great pride in. I've had a few uh, show bookers sort of say, "Hey, yeah, I'd like to get Jenny to do one of these gigs that pays $200 cash in hand. Do you think she'd be up for it?" I said, "No, no, no. She lives in New York." I've really
But
enjoyed it.
also, I'll take any gig.
Oh, okay. You know
I'll
what?
still do any gig.
Oh,
I'll run around. I'll do as long as there's an audience there. I'll do a gig.
all right. Well, I better go back and rewrite all of those responses.
Yeah.
Get you back into the swing of things. Jenny, always a pleasure to see you, and thanks for having a chat with me today.
Of course. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you to Jenny for being my guest today. She's a delight, isn't she? Just a fantastic chat. Has interesting insights into her career, and as I said, her new show is fantastic. So if you haven't seen it already, go and check it out at Melbourne. Check it out in Sydney and also Brisbane. Head to comedy.com.au for more details about what Jenny has coming up. Yes. Now I'll finish up by letting you know once again the Substack over at Patreon. There are bonus podcasts, and you can also listen to this podcast audio free for as cheap as $5 a month. Audio free, advert free. Yeah, audio free would be pretty quiet, advert free, and yeah, and there's some kind of bonus videos on there as well, things that one-offs that I filmed, and you can find the Three Colors Hamo. It's a very scratchy filming of it, but you can see the show from back in 2007 that probably really sent my career in a different direction. And if you saw it back in the day and you'd like to relive it, or if you've just heard rumors about it, you can find that over at Patreon. As always, the newsletter is free to sign up to. You can find that over at justinhamilton.com.au. And yeah, you know what? We have a new segment of the podcast that is coming up. It is going to be possibly, I think, a Saturday podcast. At the moment, we come out Tuesdays and Thursdays, and this will be, I reckon, maybe a Saturday or a Sunday podcast. And I'm welcoming Bryden Coverdale back to the podcast, and we are going to be doing a quiz that you can engage with, and you can also learn a little bit more information about each topic. So we are going to record our first episode this week, and I'll let you know more about that. But I just wanted to give you something that was a little bit more interactive and built on some of the stuff that Bryden and I have worked on in the past. So keep an eye and an ear out for that. It'll just be a nice little thing that you can do on a weekend. So looking forward to adding that to the segments that we have here. Coming up on Thursday, Malk is back. We are discussing new TV shows that he has been checking out for us. I've got a few shows that I've just started engaging with, a couple that I've engaged with, and maybe I won't be engaging with anymore, and some that I definitely will be seeing through all the way to the end. We will also be covering the last few episodes of The Pit as it races towards its conclusion for season two. God, I've loved this season. I've thought this has been great, and it's been a different kind of rhythm and a different kind of approach to the first season, and I'm here for it. I thought it was fantastic. So, plenty to discuss with Mulk about what's going on in the world of TV. Remember, you can always write to me through my website if you have any questions, if you have anything you want to tell me. Maybe we'll do a mailbag. Maybe that would be fun to do. So maybe we'll get a mailbag up and then we can do some, back and forth with your thoughts as well. Okay. I'll let you go now. Thank you for listening to this podcast. If you would like to give us a top rating on whichever audio platform you use, that would be great. But deep down, I just appreciate that you take any of your precious time to listen to what my friends and I are producing here. So thank you very much. Look after yourself. Until then.